So because I'm stupid, I ended up having three Phoboses. I have my Horizon, and I now got this one. This one is actually really cool because it has this nice anodization that is really hard to see in this lighting. It's like this sort of fluorescent thing. And apparently, this logo and possibly the numbers glow in the dark with this ink that I can't see with the naked eye. Um, I can kind of see the logo glow in the dark a little bit if I got it in the morning. Um, I have another Phobos back there. It is already being paid for. It is currently it's sold. It's just still being paid for. And I did a video, I did a video comparing the Phobos Horizon with the base Phobos. Um, but then I compared this Phobos with that one. This one is number 28. That one back there in a pouch is number 8. And this one is Horizon. So I will be referring to 28, 8, the teal one that I reviewed earlier, and Horizon. You'd expect that Horizon and um, you'd expect the 28 and 8 would feel the same. But shockingly, this one is super neutral. There are some more superficial differences, like this surface is very smooth. It is very, very smooth, which, to be perfectly honest, kind of makes it feel like cheap, like a cheap knife has that sort of feeling too. The machine texture is more grippy. The Horizon has more grip too. That I feel it as I flip. Where this one is just so smooth, but it's also light, and it sits at about 4.23 ounces. Um, Now I weighed both of them, and for some reason this didn't come with weight pins. So if I do sell this, I'll just give my other weight pins, or maybe I'll sell this. I'll get to that. Um, so both 28 and 8 have no weight pins in it, and on my scale they both sit at 4.23 ounces. That said, my kitchen scale it's really inexpensive, and it's probably not the most accurate in terms of like up to like point zero 0.01 uh, ounces of accuracy. The Horizon was 4.36 or something like that. So it's the Horizon is 0.13 ounces heavier. Allegedly, the 28 and the 8 were the exact same weight. Is it actually? I don't know. The actual difference, though, besides this having a mirror polish opposed to a stone wash or opposed to just the factory satin, um, and the handles and the ink and all that jazz, is apparently shout outs to again Solar Valsra, Alex Wen, who had this, sold it to Black Balisong, who then sold it to me. Um, and Alex loves to put in T15 screws, as well as JK deltoid pivots. I don't think these are JK deltoid pivots. I think these are just T15 screws, which he gets from a factory. I don't know, and he puts in work. Like he will bore knives and ream holes, and I know uh, he will do the things with machinery. He will ream the holes in order to fit T15 hardware, because a lot of times it just doesn't naturally fit. But apparently the T15 hardware is oh so slightly heavier that it shifts some more weight into, well, the pivots, of course. And that just makes this knife beautifully neutral for me personally. I find that number 8 was, it was a slight handle bias with no weight pins. And I was like, okay, well, the Horizon feels really neutral. And I like it more than number 8. And so I sold number 8. Now, the Horizon doesn't have a ton of differences between the previous version. Again, it's like horizontal lines, a slightly wider handle gap, a deeper sound, and it feels more neutral. But now that I flip the Horizon with the 28, I find that they both feel super neutral, but the Horizon, I have very sensitive skin, which I keep bringing up because a grip matters to me. I want my knives to be grippy, but I also find that if a knife is just too textured or too coarse, it is just uncomfortable to flip after a while. And I started to possibly am like, is the Horizon like that? And I don't know. I think that the machining on this is actually very clean. it is a little coarse in the grip, but like not in a painful way. If anything, it's probably like these grooves opposed to the surface texture. But this one, I don't know exactly what Broken Blades did when he modded this and how he got this finish. Like it's glossy, I guess. I don't know. It's just a little bit lighter, and it is just more comfortable to flip over long periods of time, especially when I'm just kind of like not thinking and doing whatever the fuck. And so I also like the mod work. At first I didn't, but like now that I have it in my hands, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize this was mirror polish. Oh shit, I didn't realize it had glow in the dark ink. And like theoretically, you know, the space theme, like I guess these are kind of spacey-ish colors. I don't fucking know, you know, like kind of. So now I'm like, oh, which do I keep, the 28 or the Horizon? Because I didn't realize how different of a feel T15 would make these knives. And it also is kind of an explanation for a lot of times when people be like, what's the balance of a knife? And sometimes you get handle bias or neutral or a little blade bias, and nobody knows what the fuck. Everyone says something different. This is one of those experiences where I have two knives that are basically exactly the same, but then a secret function, which I didn't even realize these were T15 at first. I was just like, oh shit, the screws are stripped, my T10 is spinning, only to realize that no, the screws are not stripped, they look fine. And then Alex was like, oh, I put T15s in. I'm like, well, that explains two things: the weight and, you know, why my driver was slipping. So that kind of is an explanation to why people sometimes will have varying answers to what's the balance of a knife. Sometimes it just depends on the modifications. And in this case, the modification was screws. Screws that don't even weigh enough to change my scale, but heavy enough to affect the balance. Because, of course, you know, if your balance is down here versus your balance being over here versus your balance being over here, that affects how the flipping performance is. So, that's wild, I guess. I asked A51, I'm like, yo, Dylan, what's up with that? And he just goes, I don't know. And I guess how could he? He hasn't had these knives in who knows how long. And they pass through so many other people's hands. But like right now as I'm flipping this, I just find this so comfortable and so smooth and so beautifully balanced that I'm like, well, shit, as much as I love this, I do think the Horizon sounds much better. I do like this gold, and I did buy it directly from A51, my friend. And now I'm like, well, can I keep both? But these bitches are like $1,000 retail, so I shouldn't. And I probably won't. So at some point I'll have to decide whether or not I want to keep the Horizon, which I think sounds great. Feels mostly great, except for the fact that it's just a wee bit coarse. And yeah, I mean, they both flip amazingly. Like I just, these knives fit my preference a lot. I don't know why. I feel like these knives are slept on for some fucking reason. Maybe they're not necessarily doing something, whoopsies, something the most groundbreaking. But for a channel Balisong with some very simple weight distribution options, a very like unique textural design that is not so crazy that I find it getting in the way of doing tricks or being uncomfortable, and a blade that is, you know, it's got some character to it. The Phobos is fucking good. Buy one of my Phoboses. Anyways, subscribe to my channel. Check out my other two videos. I did an unboxing of the number 8 over there. I did a comparison video of the Horizon, which for the record is number 57. And I also did a video on the A51 Pluto, so that's a cool knife. Very different. I once asked Dylan, what's the difference between two knives? He's like, everything. So that was a dumb question. Anyways, shout out to A51. Thanks to everyone, Salvador Bastra, for doing this hardware and explaining the differences, who I would not have known otherwise, because he reached out and he's like, hey, you got my old knife. I wouldn't have known that it was his. And yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great day. Happy flipping.